Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, the creator and host of the award-winning podcast that you're listening to right now. Thank you so much, called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. It is a daily podcast, 365 days a year, and each day we talk to an author about all of the things related to their career, their book, their life, and more in 30 minutes or less, because who has time? I am now an author myself, although I wasn't when I started this podcast, and you can get my new memoir, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, wherever books are sold starting July 1st, and my children's book, Princess Charming. You can learn more about me at zibbyowens.com, but really you're here to learn more about the authors, and that is what we're going to do. Also, be sure to check out all the other podcasts in the Zcast Podcast Network. You can learn more at zcastnetwork.com and definitely check out those shows as well. Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt is the author of Goodnight, Sister. It was so fun, but I was able to do this in person in LA with Katherine, and that was just so wonderful. I missed being able to interview everybody in person. Anyway, Katherine is a New York Times bestselling author, animal advocate, daughter, sister, wife, mother, and stepmom. As a passionate animal advocate, Katherine works as an ambassador for Best Friends Animal Society and the ASPCA, lending her time, voice, and energy to spread awareness about animal rescue. Katherine is also a global ambassador for the Special Olympics. As an author, Katherine has skillfully translated her own personal experiences into all of her books that speak to her generation. Her first book, New York Times bestseller Rock What You've Got, spoke to young women struggling with self-esteem, body image issues, and documented Schwarzenegger Pratt's own personal journey to self-confidence. Her second book, I Just Graduated, Now What?, offers advice and anecdotes from several well-known people for young people as they embark on their journey out of college into the real world. Her third and her first children's book, Maverick and Me, is a heartwarming book about the wonders and benefits of pet adoption and chronicles Katherine's real-life experiences with fostering dogs, eventually leading to the adoption of her rescue named Maverick. Katherine's latest book, before her children's book, was The Gift of Forgiveness, which was an inspiring must-read for people of all ages, all walks of life, and all spiritual practices. You can go back and listen to my original podcast with Katherine about that book. She interviewed more than 20 people who have worked hard and are still working hard to overcome unforgivable and unimaginable experiences. Katherine hosts a weekly Instagram live series called BDA Baby every Thursday at 12 p.m. Katherine lives with her family in Los Angeles. Welcome, Katherine. Thanks so much for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You're like the perfect person to talk about this. You were late because of your kids. You just had a baby. Oh my gosh.
8 months old. Yeah. Definitely don't have time to read books right now.
So you have an 8-month-old and a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old? No,
I have a 10-year-old stepson.
10-year-old stepson. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot, but it's fun.
Wow. Yeah. I have 4 kids. I get it. Yeah. It's like just always something.
Yeah.
Okay. So Goodnight, Sister is your latest book. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So nice.
Thank you.
Where did this book come from?
The whole book is really like a tribute to my relationship with my sister, Christina. We are 19 months apart, and we grew up doing everything together, and we had a really interesting relationship dynamic when we were really young, in the sense that she was younger than me, but she always was the braver and bolder one out of the two of us. So she did everything first. I always made her do everything first because I was much more shy and timid and reserved. So this book and kind of the relationship between the two girls in this book is really based off my dynamic with Christina, and the fact that, like, even though you're the oldest, sometimes getting a little bit of a hug from your younger sibling is what you need to get through something that might be scary. And it's really a book that's about sisterhood, of course, but also just about the bond that, you know, we can have with a sister or a cousin or a friend, and really being able to cultivate that at a young age, and the importance of having somebody that you can turn to when you need a little extra hug.
And the importance of stuffed animals.
Of course. Stuffed animals are of the utmost importance.
I mean, seriously, for a certain age, for a period of years, there's nothing more important than knowing where the animals are. You cannot go to sleep when they are not. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, no, I'm missing Monkey. And I'm like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot find Monkey now. And it's like an hour goes by.
Yeah. My daughter is all about baby dolls right now. So it's, where is this baby? That baby needs to have, like, you know, they all have a name. They all need to be in a specific location. So I very much get that. But the stuffed animals in this book are also based off the ones that my daughter actually had and gravitated towards when she was little. Because I wrote the book before she was 1, actually. So before I was even pregnant with my second daughter. And then it turned out to be that I had sisters, so it works out well.
Oh my gosh. Way to game the timing of the publishing system. And
Perfect.
so glad that all worked out.
Yeah.
Well, there is something also so comforting. I mean, in your book, it's about how two sisters used to share a room and one moves out. And I feel like kids are scared all the time. Like there's always something scaring them.
Yeah.
And just having someone else around is just enough to sort of stem the tears a lot of the time. But what you wrote about so well and what the stuffed animals sort of helped do is comfort the sisters like while they separated a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's really like what happens in life, right? When we grow up and we have to you have to grow up and like split a little bit from your family of origin, and it's very sad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I probably split from my family of origin really very much. I'm like 5 minutes away from everybody.
I live 4 blocks from my home, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I think it really is, I think, talking about these kinds of bonds and relationships that kids create at such a young age, and then being able to have, whether it's a stuffed animal or a friend that's like someone that can comfort you during, a time where you might need help being brave through a scary time is really important and super special. And I was lucky enough to have that with my sister, Christina. And I'm also aware that like not everybody has a sister or a great relationship with their sister, but it's really just about finding that sort of a bond and connection with whoever it might be, and really being able to start that at a young age and being able to, hopefully have that as you get older.
So nice. Nice. So you have an Instagram live show.
Yes.
And you had your spotlighting sisters, including your own sister.
Yes, right now, yes.
Very clever. Love it. Tell me about that. And did you consider co-writing this book with her?
It's so funny. I actually, when I started doing the book, I really wanted to write it kind of as like a tribute to her, almost like to surprise her with this book that I kind of wrote about us as kids. And then after, I was like, would have been so much probably more fun had we actually done it together. It just we were doing it I started it, in like the thick of COVID. So I was just starting to kind of read, nighttime books and bedtime books to my own daughter, and really exploring what that was like as a mom for the first time, to like reread so many of the books that I had read as a child. And then to be able to have like all these memories that you're thinking of as like, oh, I read this with my parents, and I remember reading this with my sister. So I really wrote it just like kind of as as a tribute to my relationship with Christina, and also kind of like wanting to write it as like a surprise for her. I mean, I really enjoyed writing it, and also just like the ability to write a children's book as a mom now, because I'd written a children's book before, but now having a whole newfound understanding of like what kids like, what they don't like, what their attention spans are like, what colors they like, things like that make it a little bit more special.
So what did you do differently this time as a result of that?
I mean, just like how much attention they have, it's like they have such like limited amounts of, what they can and cannot focus on, and what they do and do not want to focus on. So I really I put the animals in that she sleeps with. I put a lot of the colors I paid a lot of attention to what Lila liked as we would read books together. And Eloise is now at the age where I'm starting to like read those books with her at night. She's 8 months. So it was a lot of just like taking cues from reading these books, a lot of the books with Lila, and just like seeing what she really enjoyed.
I wrote a children's book also after a million years of reading children's books.
Yeah.
My older kids are like 15. And I found like sometimes when children's books go too long, or there's like too many offshoots, like the Magic School Bus or something, where you get through the page, but then you have to read all the speech bubbles.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh,
I know.
It's too long.
I know. Yeah. There are some, and it's interesting because like she'll find a book, and then she'll want to read it like 10 times over in like one night. And then she'll talk about it all the next day or as we're going to sleep. And so it's really fun for me to be able to see like what books she goes. We have a little bookshelf for her in her bedroom, and like what she chooses every night, and then what she likes to reread, what she likes to come back to. It's interesting.
It's funny when you think about kids, like they don't get that many choices in life.
Yeah.
But then it's like time for bed, and they're exhausted, and you're like, pick any of these.
Yeah.
What do you want to read?
100 books. Yeah. I remember talking to somebody, and they were like, I said, it just ends up taking such a long time to actually pick when you have like a bunch of different books that they can choose from, than actually choosing what those like couple of books at night might be.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, maybe offer her just like 10 to choose from instead of like 30 books to choose from, like which one's like, this one seems nice. No, actually, let's do this one. It's been funny to just kind of like see. And she's, you know, as you're saying, it's like kids, when you give them the opportunity to like choose something, they're like, ooh. Yeah. It's like choosing socks from a sock drawer. It's like, oh my God, there's so many different socks. So.
That is advice I got early on when I was like, what do you guys want for dinner?
Yeah.
Like, never say that. Say like, do you want chicken nuggets or a hot dog?
Yeah.
You know, like make
options.
Yeah. Which actually, that helps me too. Sometimes I can't decide.
It's good as adults.
Endless options.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when you wrote your last children's book about Maverick, tell me about that experience and then how this, even from the publishing standpoint, how this one differed.
I mean, I definitely had like a whole different set of like expectations and understanding of what the process is. I think the process of the illustrations is a much more fun one than adult books. There's like none of that creativity aspect of, you know, writing a children's book. So this is a really fun part of that. And then being able, again, as a mom now to like be specific about certain illustrations, knowing what kids like and what they don't like. So that was like a really fun part of this. I wrote my first children's book about my dog Maverick, just really like, you know, based off of having so many kids come up to us on the street and asking what kind of dog he was, because he's, you know, a brindley looking, coyote looking-esque dog. So kids were really just like interested in where he came from, how I got him, why his ears were one up, one down, like asking all these questions. And when I would explain to them that he came from a tunnel under a street and that he, you know, was really sick when he was little and I got him when he was very tiny, it was really interesting how all these conversations would lead to kids being really interested in fostering and in adopting dogs, and animal rescue is such a big passion of mine. So I wanted to write the book just to teach kids more about that being an option. So when they go to their parents and they say like, you know, that this might be time to introduce an animal or a pet to a family, that they would consider fostering or, you know, adopting instead of going to buy an animal from a pet store. So it was a really fun and big passion of mine to be able to kind of talk about that and connect with kids and also explain that and introduce that whole world to children, because when I was growing up, I didn't even know that that was an option. And I think obviously it's become such a bigger deal since I was a child, but it's definitely one that I think is really fun and a great option for a lot of families.
It's true.
Yeah.
So if people want to support the things that you support, like what are you involved in and how should they support it?
I honestly try to support a lot of local organizations because there are truly like heroic people doing acts of God, just being able to go to local shelters, take certain animals off the do not kill list and being able to like house them on their own or pay for surgeries or just do things that are just truly incredible. So I find a lot of people that are local in the LA area that I choose to support. I also do a lot of work with Best Friends Animal Society, and they have huge reach and, you know, help animals of all different shapes and sizes. So being able to do that is really special as well. I also work with ASPCA. So there's a lot of different animal organizations that I love to work with and love supporting. And they do amazing work, you know, on the ground and also bigger initiatives to help change big issues in America. And I really I'm grateful that they exist and also to be able to work with them.
Good for you. It's really nice.
You.
Really awesome. So last time we talked on the show, which I don't even know if you remember, it was like a long time ago, it was about the gift of forgiveness.
Yes.
Your last book and all of that. Have you thought about adapting some of those messages into a children's book?
Definitely. I mean, I think my mom did that really well with her children's book of like taking really big and sometimes challenging issues and being able to turn them into more digestible books or ways to connect and explain things to children. So I always admired her ability to do that and to write about subjects and topics that were really often hard to explain to children. So I would love to be able to do that. I think like with this book, it's a fun book that I also wanted to do something that was like fun and lighthearted after doing the book on forgiveness. It's very serious and intense. So I wanted to write something that was, you know, really fun and of course had an underlying message of talking about the importance of sisterhood and that relationship and talking to kids about that. And also talking about bravery and the importance that, you know, it doesn't matter if you're the oldest or the youngest, that you guys can help each other out. And there's that in this book. So I guess we'll have to see what conversations come up between me and my children, because really with all the books that I do and everything I do in general really comes based off of my own life experiences. So if it's a conversation with one of my kids, if it's, a conversation about forgiveness, if it's a conversation about body image, life after college, animal rescue. These are all subjects that I never planned like, oh, this is what I'm going to write about one day. It really just came really organically based off of life experiences.
I've been kind of writing personal essays my whole life. And I started out like as a teenager, like writing about like...
That must be so special to have.
Now I'm like writing about aging and like dyeing the gray out of my hair. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going with this. Do you know what I mean? Like, because this is all this is like our material.
Yeah.
Stuff about my kids and stuff about this. And anyway, it's
crazy.
But it's great because you'll have this whole retrospective.
Yeah. And it's definitely like different moments in life, It's like I have vivid memories of like when I did my first book and like where I was, my headspace then, and doing my second book, and like, so it really speaks to where I was. And also I've always viewed writing, which I'm sure you agree, is like this very therapeutic process.
Yeah.
So being able to write about these different subjects was really, for that moment in my life, very therapeutic.
And do you have more coming? Like, did you get another moment that we should know about that's on its way to us?
I feel like if you've done a book, you know how much time and energy and work goes into getting this to be the final product.
Yeah.
That like, I just want to focus on just getting this one out and like celebrating it and being really present for the launch of this. And also being able to like get it in the hands of little kids and see their reactions to it. So I really want to be like... present and sit with this one.
Yeah, stay in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You're about to go on a big tour. Tell me about that.
It's going to be interesting because I'm bringing my children.
Okay.
So that'll be like something new and different that I haven't done, because when I did my forgiveness book, I was like 4 months pregnant or 5 months pregnant with my first daughter. So a lot has changed, and we'll see what it's like. And, it's a lot of different moving parts, but I think it'll be really fun. I mean, this is, again, it's a fun subject and a fun book, and I'm looking forward to it.
And where can everybody find you? Like, you're going to New York?
We're going to New York. We're, here in Los Angeles, different places just outside LA as well. And then going to Dallas, going to Ohio. There are a bunch of different stops, but they're all on my website as we kind of add them along and then get some more solidified dates.
Why Ohio?
Just one of the places
why
that
not?
like, why not? I always say why not. So if there's like a children's book festival or something like that where, it makes sense to go, then I'm down to do it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what do you like to do when you don't have time to read? We've established that. When you're not trying to get a child down for a nap or something like that, do you have any time to yourself? And like, what do you like to do?
I mean, I love being with my family. I think like if I have any free time, I'm probably calling my sister to go do something, or my mom or my brothers or my dad. And then of course, when I'm at home, I'm, with my husband or my children. So I am a very family oriented person, and I have a lot of really close friends that are mom friends as well that, are a huge blessing to be able to get all the kids together, and then also like really have my best friends be with me at the same time. So I think that that's like, what I tend to do in my free time is just be with those people that I love. I think that like when you become a parent, you really take inventory of what you do with your time and how you spend your time. If you're taking time away from your children, like where that time is going. I'm very specific about that and very intentional about that. So I like to be wise about those choices.
You really have to be.
Yeah.
I'm always in my head thinking like, okay, is this a task I can do in front of my kids, or is this better that I do later?
Yeah.
Like if I'm like making a dentist appointment for somebody, I'm like, I'm making a dentist appointment for him. Like, so come here and listen.
Yeah.
Versus like, I don't know, posting or I don't know, something for work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm always in my head.
It's always like it's a lot it's a lot of time management.
Yes.
Being a parent, it's a lot of like, let's do this later, put this on the back burner, make a note to it, do this, do that. How is somebody going to get from point A to point? The ability to multitask as a mom is incredible.
And have you found anything you weren't expecting now that you have 2 kids? No, it's a huge transition.
It is a huge transition, but I'm the oldest of 4. And so I think that I am just really used to the energy of having a lot of people around all the time and managing a bunch of different things. I think that my siblings would probably call me like mom number 2 because I'm 8 years older than my youngest brother. So I truly viewed him as my baby, like that I would dress up and change his diaper and get his diaper bag ready and like do all those things. So I think that, I would say probably how much you can accomplish on very little sleep is very, very eye-opening to me. So that would be like I was such a person that needed like 8 hours of sleep before I became a parent. And then when I became a mom, I was like, that's just not a thing that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I've never been somebody who can be like, let me take a nap when baby naps. Like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
So, but it's amazing. It's great.
People tell you to do everything when the baby naps.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sleep. You're supposed to work. You're supposed
Make
to
food,
write a book.
clean, do everything. I'm like, what else? What do you even, I don't understand. What do you mean?
Yeah. There's like no time.
Yeah.
Well, any advice for aspiring authors?
You have children's books or just in general?
Sure, let's do children's books.
Of children's books, I would say just have fun. I think children's books are such an incredible gift for kids, no matter what the subject is about. All children's books are so special, and I know how much work goes into them, and I think that they are amazing things to have in kids' lives, and also having those memories now as an adult to be able to reflect on the books that I read that now I'm reading with my kids. Like, books make memories and they make experiences, they spark conversation, they get kids excited, explain things to them. They're huge gifts in our lives as parents and also in kids' lives. So I would say if anybody needed advice about writing children's book, I would just say to do it, because it's amazing. And I never understood when people would give me books as like a birthday present when I was younger. And now I find myself doing the same thing. I'm like, you'll understand one day, like the importance of, because there are just so many classic books that you want other kids to have, or that you're reading in your family and you think are so special. So yeah, I'd say just do it. We need more books.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Never enough. Well, congratulations on Good Night, Sister.
And congratulations on your store. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank you.
going to be amazing and such a great addition to our local area. So as somebody who will live 5 minutes away from it,
Yes.
I'm really excited about it and to bring my girls there, because I feel like so many people buy books online, which is great and so convenient for so many people. But I just love being able to go into stores, have my kids feel the books, touch the books, pick out a book, and just be in that world, which I think is so special. So
Well, we're going to have Mommy and Me every day at 11.
great, because I love Mommy and Me. I'm like very, very in all that right now. So it's
We were alphabetizing all the kids' books this morning. That's what we're doing, getting everything ready.
As somebody who like binge watches the home edit shows, I'm like, that sounds really exciting to me.
I mean, come on over. You can help us this afternoon.
Oh, I will. I'll be right there.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.